Okay, this is the editing tutorial for this tripods and camera movement exercise. So when you've completed shooting your footage, you're going to edit it together in a single video using Premiere. To do this, you'll follow these steps. So on your computer or external hard drive, you should already have a folder for this class called Video Production Lab. Inside of that folder, you already have a folder for assignment 1 that you made for your previous assignment. Go ahead and make a new folder for this assignment. Go to File, New Folder, make a folder for assignment 2. Then inside of this assignment 2 folder, you're going to make another 5-folder setup. So I'm going to go to File, New Folder, and I'm going to make a folder for audio, a folder for exports, a folder for graphics, a folder for media, and a folder for projects. So just to reiterate, both of the assignments we've done, each of them has their own 5-folder setup inside of it. Now, if you were in class on Thursday, you had the opportunity to do the filming portion of this assignment in class. If so, I've already uploaded your footage into our shared files folder on our Blackboard page. That's if you were using one of our cameras. If you go to our Blackboard page, go here to Shared Files, then go to Documents, go to Spring 21, and find this folder for Assignment 2, and this will have your footage if you were using one of our cameras in class on Thursday. If you were using your own camera, you just need to plug your SD card into your computer and add your footage to the media folder right here that you just created. If you're downloading your footage from here, just click on your folder with your name on it. And what I recommend is to just download each file one at a time. It seems to work better that way. So you just choose a file, hit download, and then just make sure that you're saving that footage into the media folder that you just created for assignment 2. If you don't see this window that I'm seeing that's expanded where I can see all these options, make sure to click on this little drop-down arrow right here so you can see all of the options here. By default, it might look like this. Click on this so you can see all of the options, and you want to find assignment 2, your media folder, and just save all of your video files there. And like I said, I think it works best if you do it one at a time. Also in this shared files folder, and this is something that everyone will use, is some sample music. If you click on this right here, there are 3 sample songs. Just click on each of them, download them, and those will go into the audio folder that you just made. So you have a few audio clips going right there into this folder here. Okay, once you have all of your files, you should have some files in your media folder, and you should have some files in your audio folder. These other folders are going to be empty for now, and that's fine. What we're going to do is go ahead and open up a new Premiere project. So I'll go down here and find Premiere. Go ahead and go to New Project. I'm going to name this project Assignment 2. And I might just go ahead and give it my name as well, Assignment 2 Casey. Very importantly, don't hit OK yet. Hit Browse here. Otherwise, it's just going to save it on some random folder on your computer. Find that folder that you just created. Find that Video Production Lab folder, Assignment 2, and make sure you save it into this Projects folder. So Assignment 2, Projects. Make sure you save it there. Give it the name Assignment 2. Everything else you can ignore for now. We'll just hit OK. And we've got a new Premiere project. When you're making your Premiere project, make sure you're in editing mode up here. There's a bunch of different modes you can use here, assembly, editing, color, etc. We want editing mode for this project, so make sure you're in editing mode. Next, I'm going to make sure my project panel is open down here on the bottom left. If you don't see that, just go up to Window and find Projects and make sure that's checked. I want to have this open because I'm going to import my media into here. So I'll open my Finder window. I'm going to find my media folder, and I can just click and drag it onto here. Click, drag, and then click again so that Premiere knows what you're doing. And it's just going to create a folder right here. Now again, maybe by default it's going to look like this. It's kind of in icon mode. I really prefer it to be in list mode, which you can see down here in the bottom left, so that I can just expand these folders and see what's in them. I'm going to import my media folder and my audio folder. My other folders are empty, but these folders have stuff in them. So I've got an audio and a media folder for now. Now I'm going to make a new sequence by just taking one of these clips and just clicking and dragging it into my timeline. And now I've made a new sequence. You can actually see if you look here over on the left, I've got all of these things that are marked in purple. These are video files. They say .mp4 at the end of them. And then right here, it has the same name as one of these other files, but it has a different label. This is a sequence. Now the confusing thing is when I create a sequence the way that I just did it, by just dragging and dropping a video file over here to the timeline, Premiere is going to make a sequence that is entirely based off of this video file, and it's also going to give it that same name. I find that to be kind of confusing, so I'm going to go ahead and rename this sequence. Right click on it, find the option to rename it, and I'm just going to rename this Assignment 2. This is my Assignment 2 sequence. And what I also like to do is collapse this folder, make a new folder by going down here to New Bin, make a folder for sequences, and then take that sequence and put it in there. That way it's a little bit less confusing. If I were to somehow close this sequence, like if I were to hit this X button and lose that, I can get it back by going to Sequences, double-clicking on this, and there's my sequence again. With your first clip, you can take a look at it. You can watch this clip, just sort of get a sense of what it is. This appears to be some sort of wide shot, and I'm just going to cut 10 seconds of this clip out. So I'm going to just move my playhead here to about the 10-second mark, and then I will go ahead and stretch this down to that mark right there, and that's fine with me. If I wanted to choose a different segment of seconds, like if I wanted to go from maybe the 7-second mark to the 17-second mark, what I can do is move my playhead here to the 7-second mark, then use this cut tool right here, the razor tool here in the center, and just cut right at this point where my playhead is. Move my playhead over to 17 seconds, and then go ahead and cut there as well. Then I'll use my selection tool, select the stuff that was on the edges, delete those, and I'll just move this clip over here to the far left. Now for my other clips in my media folder, what I can do instead of this process that I'm doing here in the timeline, I can actually do this process up here in the source panel. So I'm going to choose another clip. I'm just going to double click on it, and it's going to open up here in the source panel. And what I can do with this clip is I can just choose any 10 seconds that I want. Let's say I start at 0, and here I'm going to click the In button to mark in. And then I'm going to find the 10-second mark, somewhere around here, and just hit the Out marker right here to mark out. So this is telling Premiere I only want this section right here. Then I can just click and drag this into my timeline, and it's already pre-cut that footage for me. I'm going to go ahead and do that with all of my clips here. Now for this clip here, which is this rack focus, I'm choosing a point where I have my focus the way I want. So here the background is in focus, and then the student rack focus here to the subject. So I've made sure to choose this 10-second segment here, and then I will just drag this down into my sequence. So now I have 6 10-second long clips in my sequence. They're all equal, and that is good to go. Next thing you can do, it's optional if you want to, is I can go into my Effects panel, go to Window, choose Effects if you don't see that, and I can do some video transitions if I want to. You can choose what other video transitions you want, like cross dissolve, and you can do transitions in between these clips if you want to. This part's not required, but you're welcome to play around with this, cross dissolve all of them, or do some other effect if you want to, but have an effect in between these clips just by looking in here in video transitions in the Effects panel. One thing I do want you to do though is go back to your project panel, go into Audio, and choose a clip. Doesn't matter which clip. I'll choose this one, Soul, an audio clip, and drag it into an audio track underneath all of your other clips. I'm going to zoom out. I've got an audio track here, and then I'm going to shrink this audio track so it's the same length as everything else in my sequence. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do a crossfade on both sides of this audio track. So we have a nice crossfade there. You're welcome to extend that if you want to, or shrink it if you want to. But now I've got some background music. And last thing I want to do is I actually don't need the audio from these clips. There's some audio with these clips that I don't really need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo this track here with the music. What that's going to do is it's going to mute any other track that has audio in it so that this one is the only one that has any audio. Next, after you've done that, add a text layer. Go down here and find the text or the type tool and just click somewhere in your program panel here and you can type in some text. I'm going to type in the type of shot that it is for each clip. So this shot here is a wide shot, appears to be a wide shot. I will type that in. Then I'm going to go ahead and highlight this text. And if I go to my effect controls, which should be here in the upper left, if you don't see that, go to Window, find Effect Controls. I can make some changes to this text. For example, I can change the font size. I can change the font. Myriad Pro is a good basic one, which is the one I have it at. I can change the size of this font right here. You can also change the color. So right now it's set to a white fill. If I wanted to make this text red instead, I could do that, and now that text is red. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it white. You can also have a stroke on it. If I click right here, I can give my text a stroke. That means kind of the border around the text. So I could give this text a black stroke, so it's got a slightly black stroke around it. You're welcome to do that if you want, but just make sure you have some text that is legible, that's readable, that's in your clip here. Then I'm going to collapse this text option and go to my motion settings and use my position scalars here to reposition this text, just like we did with our graphic, our Twitter graphic or our Facebook graphic with our last video. I'm going to move this text down to the bottom left corner down here. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go back to my selection tool here in the middle, and I'll move my text layer and extend it so that it's the same length as the clip that it corresponds to. I'll go ahead and do this with each clip. So I'll move my playhead over to here. I'll make a new text layer. This looks like my mid shot. You should have the same font that you had when you started, but again, to change that, highlight the text, go up here to Effect Controls, click this drop down here. You can change the size of it as you want. You can change the fill and stroke settings. Once you've got that how you want it, go here to Motion, and then you can reposition this however you like. I'm going to go ahead and reposition it down here, more or less like this. Then choose your selection tool and extend this clip so that it's the size that it needs to be. Now one thing too that you might notice is if you move your playhead over here in between these two shots, I'll go ahead and mute this for now, I notice that I have a crossfade between two clips, but I don't have a crossfade between my two text layers. So I've got a crossfade between these two, but I don't have a crossfade between these two. And that sort of looks not continuous. We'll take a look here and see. So the two video shots crossfade really nicely, but the two text layers don't. What I might do is go ahead and find that crossfade, like I did before, cross dissolve I mean, and add that as well to my text layers. That way, not just the video layers, but also the text are cross dissolving. And I can move that around as I see fit, like that. You'll do this with the rest of your clips here. I'll go ahead and fast forward. When you're finished, your sequence should look something like this. I've got 6 clips that are all the same length, and I've got labels on top of all of them, and I have my audio track down here. I've got this track soloed so that I can't hear this audio that I don't really need to hear. Next thing I need to do is go ahead and export this. So when you've got your timeline selected here, I'll go up here to Edit and select All. Then I'll go to File, Export, Media, and we'll go through the same process that you did for assignment 1. If by default it says Match Sequence Settings, go ahead and uncheck that box. We're going to choose this format, H.264. It'll probably say Match Source High Bitrate. That's fine. Make sure to click on this word next to output name. It'll probably say Assignment 2. Click on that, and then make sure to click on this expansion window so you can see everything. You want to save this into your Assignment 2 folder, and then into this Exports folder that you made for Assignment 2. Go ahead and call it Assignment 2 Your Name, or Assignment 2 Casey. Hit Save. And then you can ignore the rest of these settings here and just go down here to Q. And that will open up Media Encoder, the separate program that's on your computer just for crunching the numbers to export this file. You can double check everything here by clicking on the H.264 and making sure all the settings are right. And then if you want to, you can just go ahead and click on this play button. This will export that video and save it into your exports folder that you just created. Once that's done, I can close Encoder. I can close my Premiere project. Before I do, go ahead and go to File and Save. Make sure you save that. And then I can go ahead and quit Premiere. If I find my Video Production Lab folder in my Assignment 2 folder, I should see that video in my Exports folder. I've got a couple here because I've done this a couple times. You should just see one video here in your Exports folder. You should also see the project you were just working on here in your Projects folder, your media, your audio. It should all be here. Now to submit this assignment, go to our Blackboard page and just find the submission link here. It's in week 3. You could submit just the exported file. So all you're submitting here is the export. Then the second step to submitting this assignment is to go to your My View and click here on OneDrive. And then save this in your personal OneDrive. I have a folder, Video Production Lab. I just have a folder for all of my classes. And then you've already done this before. You made an Assignment 1 folder for the last class. I'm just going to take my Assignment 2 folder, this whole folder, and I can just drag and drop it into my OneDrive. Now if you want to see the progress, you can go up here and click on where it says Uploading Items. This is really good because you want to make sure that it's completely done uploading everything before you go away from this window or before you share anything with me. It'll probably take a few minutes to upload everything, so just give it some time, and when it's done uploading everything, then you can do this next step. Okay, when it's done, make sure to click in the folder and just confirm that everything's there. Then you can click on this little share icon and just type in my email address, and I show up right there, and you can email that to me. That way I'll be able to see your work, and that's how you finish submission for this assignment.